For a lot of people, a garage is just a room. For me, it's a safe haven. It's something that I escape to every day. Well, for the most part, every day. But it's somewhere I go to have my own little bit of freedom. It's somewhere where I can be creative, where I don't have anybody telling me what to do or how to live my life or anything, where I'm my own boss. And setting up my safe haven has been incredibly satisfying. Some of the things that I did in this video were checked off into, wow, I'm that much closer to having this room be exactly what I want it to be. This video is it's just a little different. It's not so much the Datsun, as much as we wish it was all me working on the Datsun, but I had to get it set up to work on the Datsun. It wasn't just like, I can't just dive into a blank garage and just go, okay, cool, I'm just gonna start working on my car. I do a lot of things. I had to set up my air compressor, I had to set up a welder, I had to set up a secondary welder, I got a TIG and a MIG, I got to set up a nice little sturdy welding table. You know, I had to organize my spot, my single car spot, just to fit the Datsun so I can work on it. I had to set up the dollies, I had to clean up the area, I had to, you know, all kinds of little decorations, customizing the garage to be mine. And I finally did that. I even have enough room to park 2 other cars here. Spoiler alert. But now I have it set up so I can continue to work on the 510 exactly the way I need to. My tooling is set up. And that was something that was incredibly satisfying. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Even in my old house, I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do here because it wasn't my house. Having your own home, having your own safe haven is key. So now, from here on out, I have no excuse to not work on my car. I have no excuse, and I want you all to hold it against me. If you like this video, please comment below. If you don't like it, definitely comment below. Tell me, hey man, it sucked, dude. Go screw yourself or whatever. Or, you know, just leave a simple like. Or even if you don't, if you really don't like it, a dislike. If you guys have suggestions for videos, let me know. I do have a surprise for the next video that I gave one spoiler away already. So if you guys like this, continue watching. We'll see you a little later. Working in the garage today, so we can get some. So what we're doing today is we're actually rewiring a plug that was actually in my garage already before. A little 30 amp, 220 outlet. These dinky little wires. I think this is, yeah, old 30. We removed that, took it to the hardware store, and picked up the new 50, which is over here. So this will be the new 50 amp that will go in the box, which is actually on the direct other side of the wall, so it actually makes rewiring this really easy. The 6 gauge that was given to me, so it'll be some nice thick boy stuff that'll somehow fit through there. Tiny little 14 gauge, and replace it with this big boy 6 gauge, so that way we can run 220 for the welders over there, as well as the Dynasty TIG welder over there. Would do a little time lapse, but kind of useless, so let's get to it. Moment of truth. No fire. We're good. Well, I was gonna test the voltage and stuff, but one, I broke this lead, and two, even if they weren't broken, they don't reach. You know what? I got an idea. Maybe we can test it like this. Go take our leads. I have no idea which is which. Alright, we're doing this the old school way. I plugged it in, didn't fry it, so please don't fry it, please don't fry it, please don't fry it, please don't fry it. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so far so really good. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at that! It's working! Hey babe, I did something and it didn't fuck up entirely! She don't care. But now, we have a 50 amp circuit with a welder. Welders and air compressor. That thing too, but it's not as important. I really need to shave and take a shower and go change the label and do one final thing. So as much as I would love to give you guys a step-by-step tutorial on what the hell I just did, I'm not a qualified electrician. I do it a little bit at my work, and let me emphasize a little bit. Just throughout the years of my own personal experience, do I know a little bit about being an electrician? And by a little bit, let me emphasize a little bit. But I don't want to tell you guys anything I did. Let's just assume that it works really well, because it does. For me, for now. Until I fry it somehow. I don't want to give you guys any false information on what I just did. I can tell you the very basics, which is I went from a 30 amp 220/240 volt circuit. This was originally this little guy, little guy. Upgrade it to a 50 amp circuit, so now it'll run not only this welder, but the welder over there at max capacity and be completely fine and still have room to go. But I want to make sure that even if I upgrade my welders in the future to get something even more powerful, I wanted to make sure this would not be the reason why. I also upgraded the wiring in there, but once again, let's not get into, you know, like full electrical engineering, because it's not what I am. I'm just a guy who likes to ruin cars. So I think we'll skip on to what this weekend's project is. So a couple things I want to do to this thing on this weekend is actually, I want to, one, cut this trans tunnel all the way back to where the differential is, because if you look at the height of the output shaft of the transmission, you can see even if you go straight down to where the differential is currently, drive shaft's gonna go right through all of this. This all needs to be cut out, which sucks, because I just replaced all this poorly. I had to cut the transmission tunnel, which in this car has never existed as long as I have owned it, even before me. Transmission tunnel was cut, because someone else decided to put, it's something like a Buick V6 or something in here? Oh, and they also butchered the rear end area to where the original frame rails are, you know, non-existent. But somehow, because it's unibody, it's actually holding up very well. But I have to cut this trans tunnel due to the fact that the drive shaft has to go from there to there, obviously, and it's going to be at such a steep angle that I have to cut it, and I'm going to have to remake it anyway. So I think the project this weekend is going to be cutting this out and getting room to go to the differential, as well as relocating the diff angle, or actually re-welding the diff angle upward to more. So to do that,
I think I can get away with leaving the entire subframe in the car, but I am gonna have to remove the axles, remove the mustache bar, and I might possibly upgrade my diff while I'm doing this. Maybe, we'll see. But there's a high chance that I'm just going to leave this one in for now and get the diff angle correct, which it does need to be tilted backwards, and get the input shaft of the differential to face more the transmission. But the problem is the shims are maxed out on this one, and I really need to start removing them and modifying them. So, another little project for the weekend is I absolutely desperately need to set up a little welding bench for myself. Something I can actually mount a vise to, something I can actually do proper metal fabrication to, and something that will probably outlast me, and it will outlast me. So that's the other little mini project for this weekend. So I am gonna take a break for tonight, I think. I did the one thing I wanted to do tonight, which was hook up the welder, get the welder working. I might continue setting it up a little bit, do a little bit of video on that. But I think we're gonna stop it right there for tonight. Yeah, tomorrow we'll start digging around the 510. I do have a couple little errands to run tomorrow, but this weekend I'm hoping to get those things done. So we'll see what happens. See you then. So, for the longest time, I've had a problem, kind of like excuses for why I never started a YouTube channel. It's mainly because I lose motivation very easily. I think about all the things that I have to do to my Datsun, and I think about every tiny little thing. For example, right now I have to do the fuel line, brake line. It sounds like an easy thing, but just those two projects in itself were full day projects. I have to, bend all the lines perfectly, get them all ran, make sure they're plumbed right, make sure I have all the right valving and master cylinders and splitters and hard and soft lines, hard lines, all that stuff. And it overwhelms me. It's not a money issue, it's not a knowledge issue, but it becomes overwhelming. And so contradictingly enough, I started YouTube to help with the motivation, and you guys have actually helped me a lot with that. Fast forward about a week since we did our little electrical outlet for the welders, I now have time to actually work in the garage. My job is very demanding, and when I get off work, all I want to do is sit and watch TV because I'm a little tired and I just want to relax. We did get the welding table all set up. It's not, the best. Right now I have to get my old gang box out from underneath it, so I actually have leg room underneath. Empty this out, figure out where I'm gonna put all this stuff so I can put this in the backyard. And then from there, once I get this all kind of cleaned up over here, all this mess of garbage right here and whatnot, get it all organized, then I can move the Datsun over here. And then from there, I can actually start working on it again. I'm not sure what I want to tackle first though, and that's kind of been a interesting thing. I know I have to do the rear end, and that's kind of one of the first things I need to do. At the same time, I've also really want to get the wiring harness down. I want to get that taken care of, because I know the minute I can get some sort of power or even kind of a little bit of motivation of like, oh hey, it turned over. Well, from there, okay, cool, hook up the plumbing of the fuel line real quick. Okay, cool, that's all I need. Now I can get it started. And then from there, okay, I'll do brake line. All right, I'll redo my suspension. I'll yada. And I'll go from there. And then from there, it's gonna be plumbing of an intercooler, a radiator, all that. But rambling on isn't gonna help me work on it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try and get all this all cleaned up over here, and hopefully get the 510 moved over to where I'm at right now. So fast forward to that.
So as you can tell, I didn't really actually like clean up the garage. All I did was move everything from this side to this side. A little bit of cleaning up in the shelves and stuff, but the problem is too much of the stuff either A, weighs too much to put in an upper shelf, B, is too bulky to put in the lower shelves because there's too many partitions and little walls in between each of the shelves, or C, I just don't really have a place for it. I as much as I would love to just cram stuff in cabinets and go, oh, okay, cool, it's out of the way, well, it's not really organized, and that kind of bothers me. Plus, I have like a bunch of these bins and stuff, and I don't really have a place for them, and I don't want to throw them away because they're good bins. I mean, I have a ton of them in there and right here. So, I guess the next step right now is to get the 510 back on the little roller skates that I had, so I can push it around and actually kind of get it to this position right here. So, let's get to it. Something I don't like admitting out loud is that having my car at a ride height that's not completely on the ground is actually really convenient. It's really nice to be able to work on it, to just slip a jack underneath. No 2x4s, no 2x4s on top of 2x4s, no special ramps or anything. Just jack in, jack up, do what you gotta do. But we both know I ain't gonna lift my car like that. That's the highest my coilovers go. Absolutely as high as they can go. That's as high as I want it to go. So these little wheel skates are made by a company called Pentagon. You can find them on Amazon. No, I'm not sponsored by them. But they make it so much easier to roll the car around the garage. Like, don't get me wrong, Harbor Freight sells some, but they suck. I had them and they were terrible. These ones, on the other hand, you can actually just roll around the car nice and easy. They're not like gummy, they don't really give me any problems. They're just nice and easy to roll. It's actually super convenient. So, the best part is, so for right now, I'm gonna have the car right about there, which leaves me enough room to completely get on this side. Remember, using this roll cage material. Gives me enough room on this side, as well as this side, as well as I'm still 1.5 miles from this garage door line. So now I have the option of, once I clean up this entire side of the garage, I have an option to park a car here as well as another car there, and still have plenty of room to work on this turret. So I'm pretty happy about it. So another little project I wanted to do was I wanted to fix my air compressor. I've had this for a little while now. It belonged to my old roommate, Aaron, and when he had it, there was actually a leak between the motor and the actual tank itself. But the problem was, because this motor actually, as you guys can probably tell, it's from Harbor Freight, because the original one went bad, tried rebuilding it, failed, didn't work, so we got a new one. Then we had to make, I should say Aaron and his dad actually made a tube that went between, and it worked for a long time, but it always had like a little tiny leak. Well, I have all the stuff to actually solder it and actually make it kind of permanent, and if it doesn't, you know, if it ever has a problem later on, we'll just burn it back out and remove the copper tubing and clean it up. But there is a bunch of little connectors up and below, so I can actually, you know, kind of delete them or whatever. So that's something I actually really need to fix. So by no means am I some sort of like pipe fitter, pipe soldering god or whatever. And unfortunately I couldn't get most of that on film due to the fact that I do need to hit the pipe with the flame and I do need to feed the solder at the same, well, close to the same time. So it's been really hard, and unfortunately there's no real place to kind of set down the GoPro and not having the flames path or anything. So I did put a little bit of pressure in it. I'm gonna let it run, and then we're gonna go hit it with some soapy water and find out if these joints help. So a little tour of the finished garage goes like this. Spare parts, all kinds of random spare parts. Got a bunch of cabinet space right here. Got a TV, got stereo, because that's mandatory. Spare parts area, my little spare parts storage because I don't have a shed. The Volt TE37s from the BMW, the windshield and the steering column for the 510. Got my toolbox, got a little collection of Datsuns and old Volkswagens and stuff. Have my old welding helmet from when I was a millwright. Got the old splitter from the 510 that I've destroyed. Actually, this is the spindle that was on the 510 when I rolled it. That's the pressure plate and transmission bell housing. They got cut in half at my old house by my buddy's 335i. Got the air compressor all set up. I got the leak all taken care of, so that's solid. Got some tooling, some mandrels, got my little holder for my scoot around wheelie dolly thingy. Got the welder set up, the welding table set up, got the outlet. Don't mind this patch, yeah, we'll deal with that later. Bandsaw, table sander, MIG welder, spare steel, roll cage material, of course the Datsun itself. Organizing this was a little fun. Also, a little work to it. Stripped the old harness off and got that all organized now. So that just little steps into identifying some stuff. Pretty soon I will actually start working on that after the next video. But that's really about it. I mean, setting up the garage, and once again, was satisfying. And it unlocks the potential of what I can do in this garage. I did the things in the garage today so I could do these projects in the future, so I could set myself up for success in the future. And so today's video is basically I'm setting up my safe havens. If you guys liked it, please comment, subscribe, do whatever. I don't know. I don't care anymore. But if you guys want to find me in my daily life or whatever, I try to post every day on Instagram. I'm trying to get a little better about it. If you want to follow me down there, it's at RollerBroRed. Come pop in, say hi, send me DMs, slide in the DMs or not, whatever. I won't send you feet pics, but you know, good luck. Anyways, we'll see you in the next video, guys. Stay positive. We'll catch you next time.